Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of 28th January 2022. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 8 topics which are very much relevant from our UPSC point of view. So now let us have a brief introduction regarding the topics that we are going to discuss in this lecture. So first topic, it is regarding India's economy and challenge of informality. So if you're talking about types of economy, we can see informal economy will be there and formal economy will be there. So as UPSC aspirant, you need to know what is the difference between this informal and formal economy. So what are the challenge and issues of this informal economy, and already what are the steps taken by the government and what is the way forward. So these are the things that we need to know regarding this topic. So this is important from our economy point of view, which mainly comes in the GS paper 3. And this topic it is at most important from your mains. And next topic, it is about reopening of schools. Actually, author mainly talked that. So there is a need for reopening of schools. So that is the thing that we are going to discuss. Okay, this is important from education point of view, which mainly comes in the GS paper 2. And next topic is regarding wrong route. Actually, recently Kerala want to amend Lokayatas Act. So because of this is the news, and we are going to see what are the highlights. And next topic is regarding yesterday the Central Asia Summit, which mainly held virtually. So now we are going to see some highlights of that meeting. So this will be important from international relations. And if you have watched yesterday's lecture, we saw some brief introduction regarding that Central Asia Summit. So now we are going to see in detail. And next topic is regarding bonds. Rupee weaken as US Federal Bank tones sparks outflow concerns. So now recently here US Federal Bank, which mainly decided to increase interest rate. So because of increasing of interest rate, so there will be impact on emerging countries, for example India. So we are going to see that. So this concept is very important from your economy point of view. You need to understand the concept here. And next topic is regarding not for third party in LAC talks, China tell US. So this is a small topic. Let us see an overview. And next topic is about India seen boosting budget spending on infrastructure. So again, this will be important from our economy. So these are the topics now we are going to discuss in this lecture. So now let us start our discussion with quote. And actually today I came up with a quote regarding women empowerment. So this quote is by Malala Yousaf. Actually, she is one of my inspiration, and whenever I am getting free time, I used to watch interviews of this Yousaf Malala. So she is one of the inspiring motivator actually. So this type of quotes from this Yousaf Malala are very useful for women empowerment. And you can talk about, whenever you're talking about women related issues, you can quote the quotes of this Yousaf Malala. So the quote that I found, and I feel it is very much close to my heart, this is that quote. So let me explain you about this quote. When God created man and woman, okay, already you know that God created men and women. So when God created men and women, he was thinking, who shall I give power to? Okay, who shall I give power to give birth to the next human being? That means whether God should give this power to men or women. At that time, God chose the woman. Okay, God chose the woman to give the power of giving birth to next human being. So, and this is the big evidence. This is a big evidence that women are powerful. Okay. So in the society, so now at present society, women are facing many issues. For example, we can talk about domestic violence. We can talk about sexual harassment, and even harassment that is seen at a workplace. So because of that, we came up with this Vishaka guidelines. According to that Vishaka guidelines, we came up with this acts in the workplace. Okay, safety of women at workplace. And apart from that, even girl child, they are facing child trafficking. And also many children, they are entering into this prostitution. So these are some issues which are mainly seen, which are mainly faced by women in society. So when we want to come up with the gender equality, or when we want to talk about social empowerment, so you can quote this type of quotes. You can say that women are powerful. So why women are powerful? So if you see in the recent trends, even permanent commission which is mainly given to women in army, and even women are entering into each and every fields. And if you're talking about the women, especially women, they are more mature than men, and they will be having more stability. And if you're giving a financial role for women, they will be perfectly doing that, because in house they will be doing multiple tasks. Okay, so women, they are doing multiple tasks. For example, they will be taking care of their home, they will be doing their household work. And if woman who is working like me, she is also going outside for the work, and she will be having some family responsibilities, she will be having office responsibilities, and all these will be equally and equally taken up by the woman, and she is mentally stable. Okay, so because of this, we can say women are powerful. We should not discriminate women. Okay, so this is about this quote, and you can make a note of this quote and you can use in women empowerment, gender equality, etc. And this is one of my favorite quote. So now let's get started with our discussion, and let us try to see first topic. So first topic, it is about informal economy. If you are talking about title mainly says that India's economy and the challenge of informality. So actually, already you know that if you're talking about 100% of our economy, so in this 100%, just 10% is our formal economy, and rest 90% is informal economy. That means if you're talking about 100 people who are working, there are 10% are working in formal economy, and 90 people, they are working in formal sector. So for example, what is this informal sector? Informal sector means you can talk about street vendors, you can talk about construction workers, and you can talk about agricultural laborers. Okay, so these mainly comes under this informal economy. So in this video, we are going to understand what is this informal economy and difference between formal and informal, what are the issues we are facing, what are the challenges we are facing, and what is the way forward. So actually the thing which is given here and the data, it is not at all important from UPSC point of view. First you need to understand what is this informality, what is this challenges, so what are the important opportunities that are mainly provided by this informal sector. So that is very important. And finally, our goal, it is to clear UPSC. So when we are going for reading unnecessary things which are not relevant from our UPSC, it is your waste of your time and as well as my time. So whatever relevant from our UPSC point of view, we are going to have our discussion, right? So now let us try to see context or central theme. So if you see central theme, it mainly says that whatever the policy efforts that are mainly taken by government, mainly to convert this informal economy into this formal economy, so they are mainly showing very limited results, because there is bulk of informal units are present in our country. So if you see this infographic, you can see like street vendors are there, and some people, they are working in agriculture. Okay, and some people, they are working in pottery, like that. So all these works will come under this informal sector. So if you're talking about what are the steps taken by government, so if you're talking about steps taken by government, since 2016, government has made several efforts to formalize our economy. So to formalize our economy, there are many steps which are taken by government since 2016. So what are those steps? First one, I can talk about demonetization. Okay, demonetization is the first step, and next one is introduction of GST in 2017, and we came with digitalization of financial transactions. We are using at present now different types of apps like Phone Pay, Google Pay, like that. We are mainly going for this digital transactions, and there is a decrease in the number of paper transactions. Okay, now we are going for paperless transactions through this digital mode. And next one here is government also came up with enrollment of informal workers on numerous government internet protocols as well. So it is coming up with a national-wide database. Okay, so these are some steps which are mainly taken by government, especially for encouraging of this formalization of our economy. So if you are talking about why government is mainly focusing on this converting of this informal economy towards formal economy, because if you're talking about this formal economy, it is more productive than compared to that of informal sector. Okay, because these formal workers, they will be having some social security benefits. For example, they will be getting paid leaves, they will be getting insurances, okay, health insurance, etc. But these will be not available for this informal sector. So now let us try to understand difference between formal sector and as well as informal sector. So if you see this image, you can see the people who are mainly working. For example, you can talk about software workers, right? Here the image which is showing about the software workers, and here you can see the street vendors are present, okay, who are selling clothes or any daily wage items, etc. So now let us try to see the differences between this organized sector and unorganized sector. So organized sector is also called as formal economy, and unorganized sector is also called as informal sector, right? So there are some differences. Now let us try to understand. So these differences will be very important from your mains, and it will be like a direct 10 marker or 15 marker question regarding what are differences between this organized sector and as well as unorganized sector. So organized sector, it is nothing but employment which is very much regular and also well paid. And if you're talking about unorganized sector, we in this unorganized sector, employment will be not under control of government here. So here the jobs are not regular and also low paid. So to understand this, I will be giving you a basic example. For example, there are a group of construction workers, okay. For example, let us take this is the area, and in this area, for example, there are 10 construction workers who are living. So these construction workers, they need to go to site and they need to search jobs. If there is any vacancy, means they will be getting job on that day, and that day the wage will be paid. And if there is no vacancy, means there will be no job, there will be no payment of that day. So because of this, we can say that in unorganized sector, there is no regular jobs. They need to go for searching of jobs, and those jobs will be low paid compared to that of this organized sector. And in this organized sector, they mainly follows rules and regulations which are mainly mentioned by the government. For example, under Factories Act, under Minimum Age Act, or Payment of Gratuity Act and Establishment Act, etc. But here in this unorganized sector, it mainly comes outside the control of government. So there are no rules and no regulations that are followed here. And under this organized sector, the employers who are working, they will get some benefits. For example, paid leaves and as well as paid during holidays, payment during holidays as well, and provident fund, gratuity, and sometimes they will be also getting insurance as well. But here in this informal sector, they do not get any benefits of working, and then sometimes they also need to work overtime as well. There will be no paid leave, there will be no holidays, so there will be no leave due to sickness, etc. And in this organized sector, there will be the job security, and here in this unorganized sector, there will be no job security, okay. And this organized sector, it is mainly because people here to have some procedures, okay. Even if they are working on their own, they have to register under the government, and they need to follow the regulations and rules of government. So it is called as organized sector. So unorganized means there is no job security, right? And if there is no work, means here owner of that so and so company asks that employee to leave the company, okay. So because of this, it mainly depends upon this employer wants, it will be not coming under the purview of government. So these are the some important differences between organized sector and as well as unorganized sector. So I hope you understand this. So if you're talking about informal economy, so in this informal economy, which mainly contains two parts. First one is informal enterprises, okay, and next one is informal workforce. So according to this National Statistical Office, okay, NSSO, it mainly says that whenever any establishment which is present, and this establishment which mainly contains less than 10 workers, okay, they will becomes under this informal sector. And some important characteristics of this informal sector are they will be having very low skills, okay, very low skills, and there is easy to enter and as well as easy to exit, and they are low paid employment, and we can see primarily labor force which mainly comes under this informal economy. So this is about informal economy. And now let us try to understand what are the opportunities which are provided by this informal sector. So here informal sector will be employing about 90% of workforce. 90% of workforce in India, they are mainly working in this informal sector, and this 90% of workforce, they contribute about 50% of our gross national product. And if you're talking about the share of informal sector, which is around 10% in the formal sector of our economy. And if you're talking about informal sector, you can see large amount of informal workers who are mainly seen in rural areas. In rural areas, they mainly work in agriculture and as well as some non-farm economy. If you're talking about some more opportunities which are provided by this informal sector, so it also witnessed substantial growth in the terms of output and even the share of employment and as well as earnings. So here we need a special attention, okay, to be given to this sector. And also we need to focus on high levels of growth. And informal sector, it is also becoming increasingly interlinked with the formal sector. For example, regarding supply chain gaps and as well as providing some essential services. So in this way here, informal sector, it is also providing some opportunities. So if you're talking about what are the issues, so first one here is, especially if you're talking about a mining sector and in most of the small industries, so there is no proper focus on safety standards and health standards, and that also leads to some environmental hazards as well. And the second one is, there is a very low minimum wage that is mainly provided, and sometimes we can say there is a long hours of work that to be done by the workers, okay. And what happened, workers especially in this unorganized sector, they had a much higher incidence of poverty than compared to that of this organized sector because of low wages. And for these unorganized sector, there is no proper security, social security benefits, right? And informal sector also having some issues regarding child labor, exploitation of workers because of long working hours, and we can also see bonded labor and as well as human trafficking, okay. And women are also more exposed to informality, okay, and they are more vulnerable. And if you're talking about other challenges that we are seeing in this informal sector here is, so they do not have proper finance, okay. So because of there is no proper finance, sometimes the business of this informal sector, they will be going for temporary or permanent closure. So whenever they are going for the permanent or temporary closure, that will lead to loss of employment. Earlier, who are the people who are working in that so and so organization? Now they need to go for searching of work, and that will lead to frictional unemployment as well, right? And due to this global pandemic also had led to closure of several formal enterprises, and we cannot, and if you think about this informal sectors, so most of this informal sector, they went for losses, right? And these are some important things that you need to remember regarding this topic. And if you're talking about what are the steps taken by the government here is, so first one is, in our constitution, in part 4 of our Indian constitution, we have provisions of DPSP, that is Directive Principles of State Policy. So this Directive Principles of State Policy, which is mainly focusing on social security, okay. Social security which is incorporated in our Indian constitution to this Directive Principles of State Policy in part 4 of our Indian constitution. And also government came with a number of acts mainly to improve the conditions in this informal sector. For example, State Insurance Act, for example, Minimum Wages Act, for example, Coal Mines Provident Funds, Employee Provident Fund Act, Maternity Benefit Act, and Contract Labor Act. And these are some important acts which are mainly come up by government to improve the conditions in this informal sector. And also government came with the recent labor codes as well. So recently government came with consolidation of this labor codes into 4 codes, labor laws into 4 codes that will be having some effect on this informal sector as well. And next one is, government also came up with this National Commission for Enterprises in the unorganized sector, okay. And next one here is, government also came with a number of schemes like Nehru Rozgar Yojana and NG Narega, especially in this rural areas, and Swarna Jayanti Rozgar Yojana. So they were launched especially for this informal sector. And government also came with providing of social security for this unorganized workers through Unorganized Workers Social Security Act of 2008. And even government came with this Atal Pension Yojana, and also Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana, etc. And Already you know that in informal sector the skills are very low. So mainly if we want to move towards formal sector and to improve the conditions of this informal sector, we need to provide the skills. So for providing the skills, government came with the Skill India Mission, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushal Yojana, etc. Okay, so these are the steps already taken by the government. And if you are talking about what is a way forward, so first one is, so already the laws are present. So these laws, they need to be implemented effectively. Okay, so this is a very important key to improve the business environment in this informal sector. And next one is, we need to provide local support. So we need to build our local institutions. And next one is, we need to make sensitization. Okay, sensitization regarding policy makers, municipal authorities, and labor inspections, etc. Okay, and we need to focus on local self-reliance for basic goods, and we need to go for strong implementation of local self-government in villages, and we need to focus on increasing of government employment opportunities in skill sector. Okay, so these are the some important steps that can be taken for the formalization of economy or to improve the conditions in this informal economy. So this is the gist of this topic, and I hope it is very much clear now. Now let us move on to next topic. It is regarding open the schools. So it is regarding reopening of schools. Actually, I don't want to waste your time because many students are commenting like the video is very lengthy. Try to decrease the length of a video. Okay, but I don't want to compromise on the content. Okay, finally our goal it is to clear UPSC, right? So without wasting any time, let me explain this topic in a very short and very simple. So this is a very easy article. There is nothing like to explain much like informal sector. So actually this article will be important from our education, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. So now let us try to talk about this topic. So here, central theme, author mainly says that schools must reopen. As severe cases dip, the vaccination coverage increases. So the cases which is mainly decreasing, okay, that means severe cases are decreasing and vaccination coverage increasing. As you all know, in this third wave of coronavirus, it is mainly due to new variant, that is Omicron. So if we are talking about severity of this Omicron, which is very much less compared to that of other variants like Delta variant, like that. So because of this, we can see there is decreasing hospitalization as well. So because of this, author says that we need to go for reopening because we are also talking about a vaccination of children more than 12 years, right? So if you're talking about context, in India, the number of cases that are recorded daily here is 2,80,000 cases are recording. But this statistic, this number, it is a very high. But what happened if you're comparing with that of second wave, we can see it is not too far that observed during this second wave. But in some number of states, they went for lockdowns. And many schools, they had been shut down in many states, even in our states also. So the schools had been shut down, okay. So the states that are in this new report, on average, there are more than 95% of their available beds are unoccupied. So in many states, as I said, that the symptoms, severity of this Omicron is low. So because of this, 95% of the beds in the hospitals, they are unoccupied. And various governments are also talking about easing of restrictions and to allow business establishments and public places are opening. So but on another side, schools have been shut down in the most of the places. So it is one cause of concern. Okay, so here why the schools are mainly shut down, because the one important reason mainly said here, children are not vaccinated. So because of this, schools had been shut down. But if you are talking about data by this serological survey of ICMR, it mainly says that more than 70% of children, they display this COVID-19 antibodies. Okay, so as par with adults, in children also 70% of children, they are having this COVID-19 related antibodies. And here one more important reason which is mainly posed regarding shutting down of the schools here is, whenever children who are coming into schools, means they will be acting as carriers. They will be carrying this virus from the schools to their homes. So in the homes there will be elderly people, and that will leads to mainly contamination of this elderly, and they may fall severely ill. So this is the second reason which is mainly posed. But if you're talking about what will be the life of the children if we are going for closing of schools, again, my children are in my house. So they are playing all time, they are watching movies, they are watching cartoons, and if I say to read, they are not at all listening. Okay, so because of this, still, okay, from last years onwards, they are going to school, but whatever the thing they had learned from this last 3 years, within this 2 years, within this 1 year, or within this 10 days recently, so they had been forgot everything. So the quality time, teaching time have been lost already. Okay, so because of this, it will be also leading to inequality. Okay, inequality among the well-off children, those who are dependent on the schools, and not only for the learning but also the nutritious meal. So many children, especially in the rural areas, they will be going into the government schools, and not only in rural areas but also in urban areas. So children, they are going for the government school, especially to get the nutritious meals under this midday meal scheme. But whenever there is a closure of schools is happening, means it will be also affecting the nutrition of children. That will further lead to malnutrition, that will further leads to increasing of stunting, wasting, etc. Right? Again, if you are closing the schools, means again we need to take some efforts to control this malnutrition later on. Right? It will be increasing on financial burden on the government. So the COVID-19 pandemic has not ended, but societies are better prepared now, and they are aware about what will be the reasonable measures that can be taken, mainly to save the lives. Okay, here women and as well as the parents, they are well aware about what are the precautions that need to be taken. Right? So if you're talking about these lockdowns, they are effective just for temporary measures, but they will be having huge cost and they are not sustainable over the longer run. So this is the thing which mainly said by author. So what is the need now? The need here is the states need to prioritize expanding of vaccine coverage, and we need to focus on the children should wear masks whenever they are mainly sitting in a closed classroom. So most of the times, teachers and schools, they need to go for teaching in open areas, for example in grounds, under trees, etc. There the decreasing of transmission, that the chance of decreasing of transmission is very high here. And we need to maintain proper ventilation in the schools, and we need to go for proper checking of children. If children are getting sick, means they need to go sent to be hospitals, or they need to be made to take rest in the sick rooms, etc. And there need to be the proper availability of doctors as well, doctors, nurses. Proper sanitation should be done, and temperature checkups should be done at the entry of the gates of schools. So in this way we can take some measures, especially to decrease this learning loss in the children. Right? So this is the thing that you need to remember, and already you might be knowing about this topic, and you are reading from last 1.5 years, right? And now let us try to see next topic. Title says wrong route. So actually this article which is talking about Kerala want to come with ordinance for amending this Lokayukta law. So if you're talking about Lokayukta, so if you're talking about this Lokayukta, it is regarding ombudsman principle, right? So in center we have Lokpals, and in the state levels we have this Lokayuktas, and this is very important topic. And please try to open your Lakshmikant and try to refer this Lokayutas and Lokpals. So this is very important. So whenever any topic from our static syllabus that will come in the news, means there is a high chance of getting questions from that topic in your prelims and as well as mains, and even in interview as well. So please try to open your Lakshmikant and please read this Lokpals and as well as Lokayutas. So now let us try to see the central theme. So Kerala move to dilute this Lokayukta law through an ordinance is questionable. So mainly Kerala government which want to come with the ordinance. What is the meaning of ordinance? If you're talking about ordinance, it is a law making power whenever the houses are not in the session. So if you're talking about ordinance making power, it is with the president. Okay, at central level, that is the president, under Article 123 of Indian Constitution. And at the state level, ordinance making power, it is present with governor. And the article here is Article 213 of Indian Constitution. Okay, Article 213 and Article 123, which talks about ordinance making power. So you have to refer this ordinance also in your Lakshmikant. So these are the two important homeworks that you need to do today. So first one is regarding Lokpal and Lokayuktas, and next one is ordinance. Okay, so these are the two important topics that you need to revise. So if you go into this topic, what is the context? If you see the context, it mainly says that government made decided to bring an ordinance for amending of this Kerala's Lokayuktas Act. Okay, so Kerala government decided to bring ordinance for amending of this Lokayuktas Act. Okay, so that why it is want to amend, mainly to increase the power, okay, mainly to increase the power of government over this Lokayuktas. So here, whenever they are going for ordinance, it has the power, that is the government will have the power of rejecting the report of this anti-corruption body. So actually this Lokayukta, it is anti-corruption body which mainly deals with the cases of this corruption regarding this public servants. So whenever it is giving the report, this report can be rejected by the Kerala by this amendment to this Lokayuktas Act. Okay, through this ordinance of this Kerala's Lokayuktas Act. So if we are talking about highlights of this amendment, so State Cabinet recently recommended the governor to issue ordinance for amending of this Kerala's Lokayukta Act. Okay, so State Cabinet recommended the governor to come up with ordinance and to amend this Kerala's Lokayukta Act of 1999. And this amendment which mainly seeks the power to the government either to accept or reject this verdict of this Lokayukta. So whatever the verdict which is given by this Lokayukta, that can be accepted or rejected by the government. Okay, and according to this proposed amendment for this Lokayukta Act, Lokayukta would have only the powers of making recommendations. So it is mainly made to a recommended body. Okay, because whatever the report it is given, it can be accepted or it can be rejected by the government. So if we are talking about some facts regarding this Lokayukta, so Lokayukta, it is anti-corruption authority, or we can say like ombudsman. So under this Lokayukta, an official who is appointed by the government mainly to represent the interest of the public. Okay, so what is the important function of this Lokayukta means they will go for investigating allegations regarding corruptions and maladministration against public servant. Okay, and they will go for speed redressal of this public grievances. So if you are talking about genesis or origin of this Lokayukta, actually ARC, Administrative Reforms Commission. So ARC, which was headed by this late Moraji Desai in 1966, he mainly recommended for this setting up of institution called as Lokayukta. And later on this Lokpal and Lokayukta Act of 2013, which is commonly called as Lokpal Act, which mainly passed by the Parliament in India. Okay, Parliament of India, that happened in 2013. And this act which mainly provided for appointment of this Lokayukta. So this Lokayukta will have the power or responsibility to investigate and to report on these allegations or grievances regarding the conduct of public servant. And at the center we have this Lokpals. So we are talking about appointment. So who will be the Lokayukta? Like for example, a former High Court Chief Justice or former Supreme Court Judge, and they will be having a fixed tenure. So who will select this? So we will be having a committee. Okay. So after our Chief Minister, who is consulting with the High Court Chief Justice and the Speaker of Legislative Assembly of that state and the Chairman of this Legislative Council and Leader of Opposition in this Legislative Assembly and Leader of Opposition in this Legislative Council, and later on the appointment will be made by the Governor. So once this person who is appointed as a Lokayukta, he cannot be dismissed or he cannot be transferred by the government, and that person can be only removed by passing an impeachment motion in the State Assembly. So this is a very, very important prelims fact. And this is about this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding Central Asia Meet. Central Asia Meet forms Afghans group. So actually this is article, it is mainly important from your international relations. Already in the yesterday's lecture we studied about what is the Central Asian countries, and I also shown you map. So if you have not watched yesterday's lecture, please watch this yesterday's lecture for some background details. So now let us try to see why it is in news. Already you know that yesterday this virtual meet between our Prime Minister and as well as 5 presidents of this Central Asian countries mainly held. And in this meet, they mainly talked about overcoming of land connectivity. Actually, you know that these Central Asian countries do not have direct sea border. And here we have Afghanistan and here we have Pakistan, right? So here we have India. So there is no direct contact, direct land boundary that we can reach the Central Asia. So if you see here Pakistan is present, Pakistan will not give access, right? Pakistan will not allow us. And here we are using Chabahar port, which is located in Iran, and we are mainly moving towards Afghanistan, and from Afghanistan we need to reach this Central Asia. But in Afghanistan at present it is under control of Taliban. So this is also one important issue. So overcoming the lack of land connectivity between India and Central Asia's landlocked country, it was one of the main issues of discussion during this first India Central Asia Summit. Okay, so this summit, which mainly hosted by our Prime Minister with the presidents of these 5 Central Asian countries, for example, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and as well as Turkmenistan. So these are the 5 countries of the Central Asia, and the president of these 5 countries and our Prime Minister, they had this virtual summit, and in this summit they mainly focused, or they mainly talked about this land connectivity issue between India and these 5 Central Asian countries. So if you're talking about some details, so leaders also spoke about the concerns over Afghanistan and what are the concerns they are facing regarding this Afghanistan, and as well as objectives regarding this border terms, etc. And they want to come up with a joint working group made to deal with these issues of this Afghanistan. And if you're talking about some other concerns which are mainly focused regarding Afghanistan, here is they need humanitarian assistance, because in Afghanistan they are facing severe economic crisis, and people, they are coming out of their border in search of jobs, and recently I saw, I think 2 days back, so people, they are also ready to sell their children for money. Okay, and even what happened, there is no proper inclusive government. Actually, this inclusive government or interim government, which is mainly formed in this Afghanistan by this Taliban, they include terrorist groups, right? And they're also having issues like terrorism, and as well as drug trafficking, and rights of women are mainly violated, rights of children, rights of minorities. So these are some issues of concern regarding this Afghanistan which are mainly highlighted in this summit. And if you're talking about some important areas of discussions, they include regarding trade, regarding connectivity, regarding development, regarding people to people contact. So if you're talking about one by one in detail, first let us try to talk about this trade. So if you're talking about trade, so the participants are expected to mainly discuss the ways regarding increasing the trade between India and Central Asian countries. So if you're talking about trade, between India and as well as Central Asian countries, it is just $2 billion. If you're talking with the same trade with the Central Asian countries and China, it is like $100 billion. So here, whatever the trade that we are having with the Central Asia, it is a very, very minute and minuscule. They may have talked about how to increase the trade between Central Asian countries and as well as India. And second important issue here is connectivity. So India want to expand the trilateral working group on this Chabahar port with Iran and as well as Uzbekistan, such that they will go for strengthening of the connectivity with this Central Asian countries. And next one is development. Actually, what happened, India invested a lot in the developmental projects in Afghanistan, but because of this Taliban's rule in this Afghanistan, whatever the investment that we made, that went into vain, and most of the development projects, they had been stopped. So this is the one important issue. And if you're talking about Central Asian countries, so there is a large amount of scope in these Central Asian countries, such that we can come up with cooperation in areas of energy, in areas of healthcare, in areas of connectivity, information technology, agriculture. And next one is people to people contact. So one thing you need to keep in your mind is, whenever you are writing any answer regarding India relationship with another country, means you need to talk about diaspora. Okay, diaspora is very important, and this is the common point that you can write in all answers regarding this international relations when you are talking about relationship between India and other country. So you need to talk about people to people contact and Indian diaspora. Okay, so India would do well to increase the number of education opportunities for the students from Central Asian countries, and we can also build good people to people contacts as well, such that it will be helpful for goodwill in the long run. And next one is global and as well as regional developments. So because of this COVID-19, which impacted almost all the countries, not even single country which is left out of this impact of this COVID-19. So we need to go for rebuilding of our economy, okay, which are mainly affected by this pandemic. So this is also one important major aspect of discussion. And if you're talking about challenges, we can talk about 4 important challenges. First one, it is Russian-Ukraine tensions. Okay, so there is also the growing tensions between the Russia and Ukraine, and across this Russia and Ukraine border, there is increasing of military that is happening. right? So these 5 Central Asian countries, they are being formal Soviet states. Okay, so they enjoy close strategic ties with Russia. But if you see the recent uprising which is happening in this Kazakhstan, and as well as Kazakhstan president also received some support from this Russia. So this is whenever India is moving towards Central Asia countries, and these Central Asian countries, whenever they are having this Russia friend means, it will be affecting the relationship between India and US. So this is one cause of concern. And next one is Afghanistan issue. So you all know that these countries which are mainly sharing boundary with Afghanistan, and they will be having some number of issues like terrorism, and as well as rights of women, children, humanitarian assistance. So these are some important issues they are mainly focused. And next one is Chinese factor. China's mainly, if you're talking about trade between this China and Central Asian countries, it is very, very high when we are comparing with that of India. And recently China also came up with an offer like a line of credit of like $500 million, and it is mainly giving some assistance for this Central Asian region. And is also going up with increasing of trade and as well as investment infrastructure projects. It is also investing in natural gas pipeline, crude oil pipeline, highway and expressways here. So it is also one important cause of concern for India. And next one is connectivity challenges. So if we are talking about connectivity challenges, so Central Asia, which is one of the major challenge to deepening the relationship with India, because we do not have a proper and direct connectivity with India. Okay, and if you're talking about Pakistan, Pakistan will not provide any access to reach the Central Asian countries. So we have an alternate route, that is we can go to Chabahar port in Iran, and from Iran we can go to Afghanistan, and from there we can enter the Central Asian countries. Okay, but the cause of concern here is Taliban took over the control of Afghanistan. So these are some important challenges. Okay, so this is the entire gist of this article, and I hope it is very much clear now. Now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding bonds rupee weaken as Fed tone sparks outflow concerns. So this is this article which is talking about a Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve, it is a central bank of America. So this Federal Reserve want to increase its interest rate. So this article is very much important, and please try to focus. If you focus, then only you can understand this concept. If you don't understand this concept, means it is one of the important topic that you are going to miss in your economy. So if you're talking about context, here it says that, so here recently US Federal Reserve, which mainly said that it is going to increase its interest rate. Not only US but also other countries are also going for increasing of interest rate. So because of this, here there is increasing of pressure on India's central bank, that is Reserve Bank of India, to go for increasing of interest rate. So RBI, already we discussed this article I think 3 or 4 days ago in one editorial. I said that RBI, which is mainly following this accommodative policy, and we need to wait till February whether they are going for this constructive policy or not. That means they are going to increase interest rate or not. We do not have proper clarity now. Now as of now, from COVID-19 enter into our life, we are seeing RBI is mainly following this accommodative policy, and this accommodative policy is focusing on increasing of money supply in market. But now US Federal Reserve, which mainly says that it is going to increase interest rate. So whenever this Federal Reserve, it is going for increasing or decreasing of interest rate, which will be having effect on America's economy, and not only America's economy but also the almost all emerging economies, they will be having impact whenever there is increasing of interest rate and decreasing of interest rate by this Federal Reserve. So now let us try to understand how it impacts countries like India. So for example, if you are talking about India, in India we commonly see there will be the high rate of inflation, and in India we can see there will be the high rate of interest rate. Okay, interest rate when we are comparing with that of developed countries like US. So for example, if you are talking about interest rate in US, it is like 1 rupee. Okay, I'm giving hypothetical example to make you understand this concept. For example, interest rate in US, it is 1 rupee, like that. And if you're talking about interest rate in India, it is like 3 rupees. Then what happens if I am an investor? If I am investor, okay, if I am living in USA, I will be taking loan from the Bank of USA at interest 1 rupee, and I will be investing in India such that I will be getting profit of 2 rupees, because interest rate here is 3%, and interest rate here is 1%. So I am getting profit of 2%. Okay, so this is the normal scenario. For example, let us take the condition. For example, interest rate in USA, which is decreased to 0.5%. Earlier it was 1 rupee and it mainly decreased. So this is the first scenario. In this first scenario, there is decreasing of interest rate, that is 0.5%. So if interest rate which is decreased to 0.5% and interest rate here is 3%, means I will be taking much more money. I will be taking much more money as a loan from the bank, and I will be investing in India, such that I will be getting profit of 2.5%. That means for what happened in India, there is increasing of investments. Okay, so whenever interest rate which is decreased in US Federal Reserve, there is increasing of investment. That means increasing of dollar inflow into India. Okay, whenever dollar which is increasing the number, the dollar which are mainly coming to India, which is very much high, means what happened, that will leads to decrease in the demand for dollar. That means there will be increasing of demand for rupee. That means we can say appreciation that we can see. That means the rupee will be becoming stronger compared to that of dollar. And if you are talking about second scenario, I will be changing the color of pen. So second scenario here is interest rate in America, which mainly increased to, for example, 2.5%. Earlier it is 1%, it is 2.5% in US. In India, for example, let us take that is 3% of interest. So if I am an investor means, so here if I go into the bank of USA and if I am getting loan at rupees 2.5% interest, and if I want to invest in India for 3%, means I will be getting only the profit of 0.5%. So why? What is the need? I am thinking like, what is the need? So because of that, I will be withdrawing the money from the India and I will be investing in US, such that there will be the safety that is also seen, right? So in this way, what happened, this person, me, I will be withdrawing the dollars. I will be withdrawing the dollars from the India, and I will be investing in US. Such that what happened from India, the amount of dollars will be decreasing. Okay, amount of dollar will be decreasing. That means there will be increase in the demand for dollars. So what happened, there will be the decrease in the value of rupee. So that will leads to the condition called as depreciation. Okay, so this is the concept, and this is the thing that we can apply here. So what happened, whenever the interest rate in the US is decreased, means the people will go for getting of loans or borrowing the money from the US at low interest, and that money will be invested in India, such that they will be getting profits. Okay, so when US Federal Reserve, which mainly raises the domestic interest rate, means, so the difference between the interest rate between India and US, it will be very much less. So because of this, India, it is less attractive for currency carry trade. So because of this, the dollars in the Indian markets, that will be going back to the US markets, so that there will be increase in the demand for the dollars, and that will leads to depreciation. So this is the condition that we are seeing in India now. Okay, so how increased interest rate will impact India? You can talk about the two important things here. The first one here is on equity market. Second one is on export and forex reserves. So on equity market, bond yields will rise due to the growing dollar shortage. Okay, so here on equity market, bond yields will rise due to the growing dollar shortage. Okay, so bond yields will be increased, and it will be leads to the financial burden on the government. And next one is on export and forex reserves. So what happened, whenever the depreciation is happening, whenever the dollar becoming strengthened, means, so already you know that India is the largest importer of crude oil, so that we need to pay in dollars. Such that what happened, whenever there is increasing or strengthening of dollar, then what happened, we need to pay more expensive imports of this crude oil, such that will be leads to further inflation in the market. Okay, if you're talking about exports, they will be getting good profits, but if you're talking about exports of India, they are not much competitive with other exports in international market. So this is about this topic, and I hope it is very much clear. If you have not understand the concept, please go back and again watch that concept, then you can easily understand this concept. Okay, and now let us try to see other articles which are important that appear in today's newspaper, that is regarding growing threat to rights in India. So I think if you see this infographic, you might have identified this person. So he was our former Vice President of India. Okay, he said he mainly focused that former Vice President Hamid Ansari and 4 other US lawmakers, they mainly expressed concern regarding the threats to rights in India. So actually one controversial statement which is given by our Prime Minister regarding the rights and duties. So regarding that, here this former Vice President also came up with expressing cause of concern regarding the rights. So you can easily go through this article. So it is not much important. Okay. And next topic, it is regarding India seen boosting budget spending on infrastructure. So yesterday's lecture or day before yesterday's lecture, I said that whenever there is 1% increasing of spending in infrastructure, especially in this food processing industry, that will lead to 0.06% of increasing of output. So in this upcoming budget, here government which is mainly planned to increase spending on infrastructure such that we can go for increasing of manufacturing, and that will lead to increasing of employment, and finally that will lead to economic revival. Okay, so this is the idea regarding this topic. And next topic is regarding not for third party in LAC talks, China tells US. So already what happened here, US mainly made one statement regarding this China-India border issue. Okay, so in this context, China said that China mainly opposed this third party involvement in this India-China border dispute. Okay, so because of comments from this Washington about Beijing, so Washington, that is US, made a statement regarding intimidating its neighbors. So China, it is intimidating its neighbors. So this is a statement which is given by US. So in retaliation, Chinese said that there is no need of interference of the third country regarding this India-China border. So recently this 14th round of talks which mainly held here, it does not yield much results, and we are going to have further rounds of talks between India and China regarding this border dispute across this LAC region, and we need to see whether the complete disengagement will happen or whether we can go for status quo or not. So we need to wait and watch, right? And these are some important articles that appeared in this today's newspaper. And now let us try to see explanation for yesterday's questions. So first question, it is regarding what are the factors that are responsible for the seasons. So first one is rotation of Earth on its tilted axis. Already you know that Earth, it is tilted, okay, like 22.5 degrees. So because of this tilted axis, so if you see here, the equator will be there. So whenever it is revolving around the sun, let us say this is the sun, whenever it is revolving around the sun, so more than half the northern hemisphere that will be getting the sun rays, and whenever it is coming here means, so more than the half of the southern hemisphere that is getting the sunlight. So because of this, it is one of the important reason for the seasons. And revolution, it is very important, and even spherical shape of the earth and earth tilted axis and axial parallelism. Yes, these all are the important factors for this season. So correct option here is all above 4. And next question is regarding paleomagnetism. So this paleomagnetism is nothing but the past magnetism of earth is called as paleomagnetism. How can we find this paleomagnetism? So if we're talking about increasing order of finding this paleomagnetism, first we can see in igneous rocks, and later on sedimentary rocks, and later on metamorphic rocks. So correct answer here is igneous rocks. And now let us try to see today's questions. So before seeing this today's questions, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. So if you want to clear this UPSC, I will strongly suggest you to join this prelims test series and as well as mains answer writing course that we launched in this Rathod's IAS Academy. So in this prelims test series, we are providing 30 tests which mainly include CSAT and as well as 2 years. That will be helpful for analysis. So analysis is very, very important. Okay, writing of test series is equally important with this analysis. After examination, you have to sit for 2 hours and you have to analyze yourself. Then only you can understand yourself. Knowing thyself is very important. It is according to Socrates, right? I also explained you that quote. So understanding yourself, where you are weak, where you are good, and whether your guesses are going right or not. So how many guesses went right, how many guesses went wrong, so why you made wrong, so how can you guess the correct answer. So that analysis is very, very important, because in this prelims you will be getting 100 questions. Out of this, even topper will know only 30 to 40 correct answers, and remaining they have to go for guesswork. So for this, analysis is very important. And next one is mains answer writing codes. And I want to say one thing here is one deciding factor and deciding your fate, whether you are clearing this UPSC or not, it is based on your mains answer writing. So if you are good at mains answer writing and if you excel this mains answer writing, means at last, finally, you can see your name in finalist for sure. It is my assurance. Okay, because prelims it is qualifying, an interview, it is not in your hands, but mains it is in your hands. If you perform well in your mains, then you can easily clear this examination. So why we need to focus on this mains answer writing? Even though if you started your preparation now or already you gave your attempts, you need to focus on this mains answer writing. Because within this 3 hours, you have to answer 20 questions. So you will be getting 7 to 7.5 minutes for one question. So now you can imagine how perfect you should be and how thorough in the concepts. So for this, we will be giving you weekly targets. So in week, you have to complete 2 to 3 chapters. We will be giving you timetable. And based on that timetable, we will be giving you daily one question. You have to write answer. And on Sunday, there will be essay or case study. So that you will be completing your entire GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4 along with that year current affairs in that so and so 1 year time period. And there will be evaluation. There will be one-to-one mentorship, and we also provide you model answer. So in this way, you are going to complete your GS syllabus within 1 year. It is my assurance if you follow my words. And the new batch for this mains answer writing course going to be started from February 1st. So please be hurry up. And it is exclusively very useful. Okay. And apart from that, we also launched this foundational course for entire GS, and it will be useful for 2023 and students who are going to join this, okay, who are going to enter into this UPSC preparation. So this course will be absolutely useful because we are going to cover each and every topic in your syllabus with conceptual clarity. And we are providing like more than 700 hours of video lectures along with the notes in the PDF formats. And next one is, if you want to take individual courses, if you are already take foundational course, and if you are weak in so many subjects like economy, history, geography, and you can also take individual courses as well. Okay, so the price is very affordable, and you can easily offer that courses, and there will be one-to-one mentorship for these courses as well. So details of this course are given in description box, and if you want to watch any demo videos, so please go to our Rathod's IAS Academy website, and there you can see or you can watch 3 demo videos in each and every module. Okay, I'm not saying that to take directly these courses without having any demo videos. So we have confidence in ourselves, and we are focusing on conceptual clarity, so that we are providing demo videos as well. And if you want to download this Rathod's IAS app, the link is given in description box. You can also download that. And if you want to talk to me directly, you can call to this number 8074765513. Okay. And now let's come back and let us see today's practice questions. So first question is regarding sunspots. So it is from your solar system. So sunspots are the one found on the outer surface of the sun. Consider the following statements. So first one is, sunspots region generally have lower temperature than surrounding region on the sun's outer surface. And second statement is, the sunspots do not have any effect on its climate. Each period of weak sunspot activity correlates with the period of overall high solar radiation output from the sun surface. Sunspots generally have 11-year cycle. So you have to identify the correct statements. And next question is regarding earth crust. It is regarding theories. So you are having continental drift theory, you are having sea floor spread theory. Okay. So here you have to know about this continental drift theory, and it will be, this concept is like 15 marker question in your mains. So there are some statements were given. So first one is, cealic masses used to float over seema without any resistance. Next one is, earlier all land masses were united to form massive landmass known as panthalassa. Next one is, ocean floors were considered to be the stable, never moved. Choose the correct statements. So you have to choose the correct statements regarding this continental drift theory. And if you have completed your NCRTs, means you can easily answer these 2 questions. So by this I am concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy, and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And if you want any changes, please give your suggestions in the comment box. So by this I am concluding. Thank you so much.